Sorry.
Look, I am not cheap, but sometimes I work for cheap because that's, I'm a senator. I do what I have to do for the people. And I have been summoned here this evening by one of your supporters of the show. They said they wanted to talk to me and that they had some questions. I still haven't called for a ceasefire, and I apologize, but
so it's not. You know what? Honestly, that you're gonna let that be your legacy at this point. Like, and that's on you. It's very upsetting to me.
At least I didn't turn out like Ralph Nader.
I don't. You know what? And no, and I don't think that's it. I think Ralph Nader turned out in a lot of ways with his integrity intact.
Oh, I don't know. Ralph Nader is out there saying that you should support Joe Biden for president next year. So my good friend Joe is getting support from some unlikely places.
Joe is not your friend.
I don't have many friends.
Well, you know what? And you're better off without any friends than friends like that.
Look, unfortunately, the ceasefire has been lifted, and now we're putting.
There were over 1,000 people like in the first 24 hours.
Yes, it was a very dangerous situation, and we're going to comment on it, and we're going to play a quick video.
We're going to comment on it?
We're going to comment on it. It's very important.
I'm so beyond commenting. Here.
The people here need to understand what is going on. The ceasefire apparently ended.
I want to grab people by the neck. I swear to God, I do.
Maybe if they watch this, they might.
Like, I almost feel like I'm jumping out of my skin.
Well, hopefully that.
Like, that's how I.
This is an educational opportunity.
Is this just going to make me irate?
It might. I don't know.
You're not playing Wasserman Schultz, are you?
عشرات بالمئات ايش عشرات بالمئات حي كامل دمر يعني هذه مساحة تقريبا مش عارف أكثر من دلمين 3 كل هذه المساحة مدمرة. من كثر الدمار أنا مش عارف وين أتوجه من كثر الدمار. الله أكبر الله أكبر. ما هذا؟ هي قصف كمان قصف الآن في هذه الأثناء قصف. الله أكبر.
Then you know the result. You already know what is going to happen here, right? This dust now is inside Nasser Medical Complex. These people are displaced inside Nasser Medical Complex, and the carpet bombings are around the place. The largest functioning hospital and maybe the only one in the South Gaza Strip.
دمار حجم الحي الكامل اللي عدم. يعني هذا الحي السكني الكامل الذي سوي بالأرض. هذه عشرات البنايات في هذا المكان سويت جميعها في الأرض. يعني هذا المكان هذه بنايات على محاذاتها مربع سكني كامل.
It's not a genocide. It's just a training exercise.
You know, by the way, and somebody had commented, we've got one of those people that comment, and for anybody who has even thought this, you are really one of the dumbest people ever if this is something that crossed your mind, so you might want to get help for that. But when we're talking about a genocide and people's responses include things like, but their population numbers have been increasing.
That's always a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not the point, okay? You can be conducting a genocide without it being fully conducted. Like, you can be conducting a genocide by ethnic cleansing and doing what you're doing without it necessarily fully eradicating the people. It's the intent. So, you know, it's just about, but their numbers, they've increased them.
Anything to justify your actions.
They've already arrested more Palestinians than they've traded for hostages.
But they're also still throwing the Hamas are rapists and sadists.
So I want everybody who thinks Hamas is the most evil people on earth to imagine what you would do if they were hiding in the hospital in Tel Aviv.
Even though there has been proof already that Palestinian boys are being raped by Israeli armed forces. That's yeah.
Boys.
You see, when those things start coming out, you know it's true, because those things, they do everything in their power to make sure it never leaks.
And by the way, the people, and I say this over and over again, every time that you see an exchange of hostages, and you don't question why are there so many women and teenagers being held by Israel, that's the important rabbit hole to go down. Okay, not the hostages that are being released after so many days. And I'm sure this has been horrible. I have no doubt that this has been horrible. But we have to at least question, why is it that there's all these people being held without any due process? And the reason is that in the West Bank, when you get arrested as a Palestinian person, you don't have due process because you're not subject to the laws of citizenship of the state of Israel. Even though Israel oversees you, you are under military rule. And as a result, you don't have that. So it's basically you get to be declared what we would call here an enemy combatant, I guess, and just never see the light of day in due process. And that's what they do. And they do it with like teenagers throwing rocks. They do it with young girls. And by the way, the reports of women being raped and abused by IDF soldiers are rampant.
Oh, I'm sure.
Rampant. Sure. So when people say that only Hamas does stuff like that and Israel would never do that kind of stuff, just Google it. I assure you.
And I'm pretty sure that a lot of that rape that's being committed isn't being done for sexual gratification. It's being done as a power trip.
Well, that is what rape is.
Well, some of them do it for sexual gratification. What I'm saying is this is almost exclusively
it's a war crime.
Yeah, which again, there are people that gleefully participate in war crimes.
Oh, well, this is sort of like the things you would hear of in like rebel warfare in places in Africa where they use rape as they use it as a tool of war. It's an instrument of war. So it's very much the same thing. But I cannot stand it when people act as if somehow Israel is so much, holier than thou when it comes to, the art of war. When in fact, I think that there couldn't be anybody worse.
Yeah, this is definitely something that I don't think they're going to be. Again, they keep pushing their luck. They keep trying to overstep their bounds and think that they're just going to continue to get away with it. When you say that you have to leave North Gaza and you have to go to South Gaza, and now you're bombing it into smithereens
they already were.
And killing thousands upon thousands of innocent people, 80% of the Palestinian population in Gaza now has nowhere to live.
They don't care. They don't care.
But it's not a genocide.
They just want them to get out.
Correct.
They just want them to get out.
And remember.
But then kill them on their way out.
The biggest reason, in my opinion, that we're going right along with this is because of the trillions of dollars in natural gas that's under Gaza soil. That's the reason. It's all about money and power. It isn't changing, no matter how much you don't want to acknowledge that this is a reality.
And it has nothing to do with the hostages.
Not at all.
Nothing.
And it has nothing to do with Hamas.
Now, Hamas took hostages as an intent to get back some of their people that are being unjustly held.
Which they did
do that.
But no one's talking about that.
No, like that was their plan. That was what they sought out to do. They didn't go there with like burn it all down mentality. No. In fact, a lot of the stuff, I would suggest everybody hear what Max Blumenthal put out about this, because he examined a whole bunch of evidence. And this is someone with a lot of knowledge and experience about that part of the world and the kind of crap that goes on during war there. And he was able to sort of discern that a lot of the things that were being blamed on Hamas were actually things that were done by the IDF in shooting blanketly and randomly and crazily into buildings where there were Hamas people, but there were also Israeli people. So there were also things that were done that looks like from helicopters and things that were incinerated that are weapons that Hamas doesn't even have access to.
Metal, no one is suggesting that Hamas are the good guys.
No.
So let's stop, please.
There's not good or bad. That's exactly the point. Stop. The exact point is that there is no good or bad. Right. It's really just a matter of sides and what side you're on. But what I would suggest,
if you are on the side of Israel, you're on the side of genocide. Point blank, period. No gray area.
Because what they're doing is not defending themselves. See, when people say, well, Israel has a right to defend itself, absolutely. This is not that. Okay? They passed that from day one. Inflicting other illegal acts of war using the justification of trying to root out a handful of terrorists is just completely unacceptable. And the rest of the world thinks so.
And the biggest problem with Bernie not saying anything is it doesn't matter if it's not politically advantageous for him to step up and acknowledge that there needs to be a permanent ceasefire. What's the point of saying we need a ceasefire if you're going to have one and then immediately start up all over again? Maybe they needed a rest and they decided how they were going to do it. Bernie, it doesn't matter if it works politically. It just matters that it's the right thing to do.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.